So I move this a little bit out of the way so you can see what I'm going to do next, which is to slide that elastic down inside that hole. This is where the hole was. And we want to slide it in. And we want to make sure when we sew this together that this is still being parallel along here. We don't want it way over there with a bump, and we don't want it too far back here so it's got a dip in it. It should be parallel all across there. And I am going to put just a couple of pins to hold this closed. And then I'm going to switch back to stitch number 1, which is my straight stitch. I'm going to remove the part so I can get to my free arm and get this lined back up again. And what we're going to do now is we're just going to stitch across that part that was left open for the elastic to go in. One of the things that you want to do, though, is you want to be really careful and make sure that when you start again, you overlap with your previous line of stitching. That it's not to the left or the right of it, but it's right on top of it. And it needs to be back maybe 2 or 3 stitches. I've seen kids sometimes, and probably grown-ups do this sometimes too, that leave a gap in here, and you want to have that stitching all the way tight. So grab onto my thread so I don't get a thread blob, and I'm going to stitch a couple of stitches forward, and then I'm going to back stitch. And I'm trying not to stitch on my elastic. My elastic's way over there. See where it's ending? So it should be out of the way. If I made my casing the right size, then I should be okay with this. So I did a couple back, and then I'm going forward, and I want to make sure that I land right on top of, and I'm going a little faster than you probably will. I want to land right on top of that previous line of stitching. Okay, and go past a few, and then back stitch. Okay, needle up, presser foot up, pull this out. We're getting near the end. All we've got left is hems. We've got one more step on the waist, and then we've got the hems to do. Let's see, where's my starting point? Oh my goodness, I did such a good job, I can't figure out where I started. Oh, there it is. Get that thread cut. And this should be along here, should pretty much look like it's a continuous line. You don't want a big gap in between. I think I have one stray stitch there, but it kind of blends into the fabric. But there shouldn't be a pucker in here at all. This should lay flat. Now we have one more step to do to the waist before we are finished with it, and we can go on to the hems.